In a classroom filled with whispers and judgment, a black student faces humiliation at the hands of a dismissive Latino professor. Laughed at and underestimated, he could have crumbled under the pressure. But what happens next will shock everyone, when he turns the tables with a genius answer that no one saw coming. This is a story about courage, intelligence, and standing tall in the face of adversity. Marcus, a bright and determined college student, entered Professor Rodriguez's lecture hall feeling the weight of expectations. The professor, known for his tough grading and sharp tongue, had a reputation for being particularly harsh on students who didn't fit his idea of excellence. Marcus had prepared diligently for today's class, ready to present his solution to a complex calculus problem that had stumped many. But as he began to speak, Professor Rodriguez interrupted with a condescending remark, questioning Marcus's grasp of the material. The classroom fell silent. Some students chuckled, while others exchanged uneasy glances. Marcus felt the sting of humiliation, but he steadied himself and continued, determined to prove his worth. When it came time to reveal the answer, Marcus's explanation was not only correct but ingeniously elegant, demonstrating a deep understanding that surprised everyone, including the professor. The professor's smirk faded as realization dawned on him. He had underestimated a student with true brilliance. Marcus's courage and intellect transformed the atmosphere, shifting the respect of the classroom and challenging biases. This moment was more than just an academic victory. It was a powerful statement about perseverance, intelligence, and breaking stereotypes. The room was filled with a mixture of stunned silence and murmurs of admiration as Marcus calmly walked through his solution. Each step of his explanation was precise, revealing not only his mastery of the problem but also a creative approach that few had considered. Even some of his classmates, who had doubted him earlier, nodded in agreement. Professor Rodriguez, usually quick to dismiss, found himself at a loss for words. His eyes, once sharp and critical, now reflected a grudging respect. But beneath that respect was a hint of discomfort, his preconceived notions challenged by the undeniable evidence of Marcus's brilliance. The professor cleared his throat and asked a few follow-up questions, which Marcus answered effortlessly, further cementing his standing. After class, a few students approached Marcus to congratulate him, some apologizing for their earlier skepticism. But Marcus's focus was not on praise. It was on proving that intelligence and potential are not confined by stereotypes or appearances. Outside the classroom, the incident sparked conversations about bias in education and the challenges many students face in environments that don't always recognize their abilities. Marcus's story became a beacon for others who had felt underestimated or marginalized, inspiring them to keep pushing forward despite obstacles. Meanwhile, Professor Rodriguez began to reflect on his own attitudes and teaching methods. The experience forced him to confront the biases he had unknowingly carried and to reconsider how he engaged with all his students. Marcus's victory was a catalyst, not just for himself but for change within the academic community. It was a reminder that true talent demands recognition and that every student deserves a chance to shine. In the days following the class, Marcus noticed a subtle but important shift. Professor Rodriguez began to engage more openly with students who previously might have been overlooked. He asked questions that invited deeper thinking, gave encouragement where before there was doubt, and even sought Marcus's input on challenging problems. Marcus, however, remained humble, focusing on his studies and his dreams of becoming an engineer who could make a real difference in the world. Yet, the impact of that one moment in the classroom continued to ripple outward. Other students found courage in Marcus's example, pushing past their own insecurities and challenging the limitations others had placed on them. Discussions about bias and equality started to take root in campus forums, led by students who wanted to create a more inclusive and supportive environment. Marcus's family and community celebrated his achievement not just for the academic success but for the barriers it broke down. They saw in him the potential for greater things, a symbol of hope for young Black students everywhere. Meanwhile, Professor Rodriguez publicly acknowledged the lesson he had learned, speaking at faculty meetings about the importance of recognizing and nurturing diverse talents. His transformation was gradual but sincere, as he worked to become a better educator and mentor. Marcus's story became part of the campus culture, a reminder that brilliance knows no boundaries and that perseverance can overcome even the harshest judgments. It was proof that changing one mind could start changing many, and that the fight against bias is a journey worth taking. As the semester progressed, Marcus continued to excel academically, but his journey was about more than just grades. He became an advocate for students facing similar challenges, speaking openly about his experiences with bias and the importance of resilience. He joined student organizations focused on diversity and inclusion, helping to organize workshops and panels that addressed systemic issues in education. His story inspired faculty and students alike, creating a more welcoming atmosphere on campus. Professor Rodriguez, too, made strides to improve. He collaborated with diversity trainers and incorporated inclusive teaching practices into his curriculum. He shared his growth openly, encouraging other professors to examine their own biases. The relationship between Marcus and Professor Rodriguez evolved from one of tension to mutual respect, symbolizing the possibility of change when people listen and learn from each other. Outside the university, Marcus's story gained attention on social media and local news, sparking wider discussions about race, education, and opportunity. Young students from similar backgrounds reached out, seeing in Marcus a role model who proved that with determination and support, barriers could be broken. For Marcus, the journey was ongoing, but each step forward was a victory, not just for him, but for every voice striving to be heard. His story reminds us that intelligence, courage, and perseverance are powerful forces that can change minds, hearts, and futures. The impact of Marcus's breakthrough reached beyond the walls of the university. His story began to resonate in the community, inspiring parents, teachers, and young students alike. Local schools invited Marcus to speak about his journey, where he shared not just his academic achievements but also the importance of believing in oneself, even when others doubt you. His message was clear. Intelligence and potential are not defined by race or background, but by perseverance, passion, and opportunity. Marcus also became involved in mentoring programs, guiding students who faced similar challenges navigating educational systems that often underestimated them. His calm strength and genuine encouragement helped many build confidence and aim higher than they ever thought possible. Meanwhile, Professor Rodriguez continued to evolve as an educator and ally. His transformation from skeptic to supporter became a model for colleagues, showing that acknowledging and confronting one's biases leads to better teaching and stronger student relationships. The university began implementing new policies and initiatives inspired by the conversations Marcus helped ignite, fostering a more inclusive and equitable environment for all students. Despite the accolades and growing attention, Marcus remained humble and focused on his goals. He knew the journey ahead was long, but he embraced it with the same determination that had carried him through moments of doubt and humiliation. This story, of a Black student who turned the tables on prejudice with brilliance and grace, is a powerful reminder that when we challenge stereotypes and uplift one another, we all rise together. As Marcus's influence grew, he found himself facing new challenges, balancing his academic pursuits with the responsibility of being a role model and advocate. The pressure was immense, but he embraced it, knowing his story could change lives. He worked tirelessly, not just for himself, but for every student who felt unseen or underestimated. At the same time, Professor Rodriguez continued to foster change within the faculty, encouraging open conversations about race, bias, and equality. His journey from skeptic to ally became a powerful testament to the impact of growth and understanding. Together, Marcus and Professor Rodriguez occasionally engaged in discussions, reflecting on how far they had come. Their evolving relationship symbolized the possibility of reconciliation and progress when barriers are broken down. Outside academia, Marcus began collaborating with organizations dedicated to educational equity, helping to develop programs that addressed systemic challenges faced by Black and Latino students. His efforts brought renewed hope to communities that had long battled underrepresentation. Through it all, Marcus never forgot the moment that started it all. The courtroom of the classroom where his brilliance overturned doubt and prejudice. That moment fueled his passion to keep pushing boundaries, proving that intelligence and courage can open doors even in the most unlikely places. The journey that began with a single classroom confrontation had blossomed into a movement. Marcus's story became a beacon of hope, illuminating the path for countless others navigating similar struggles. It was a reminder that brilliance can shine through adversity, and that perseverance in the face of bias can transform lives. Professor Rodriguez's transformation echoed the broader societal need for introspection and change, showing that confronting our biases can lead to greater empathy and fairness. As the campus became more inclusive, the culture shifted toward one that celebrated diversity as a strength, not a hurdle. This story is a testament to the power of education, the importance of belief in oneself, and the impact one person can have when they refuse to be silenced. Marcus's courage to stand tall in the face of humiliation and his dedication to uplifting others remind us all that change is possible. One story, one voice, one moment at a time.